love to start a series of 2 videos about my life as a freelancer. And this series will consist of 2 videos. First is about the challenges that I'm facing as a freelance designer, and the second video the next week is about benefits for me as a designer freelancer. Okay, let's get into it. So, the first topic is basically about challenges, about something that hurts me, about something that I have to struggle with every day. And apparently this is more emotional video for me, so I'll share everything that I think you need to know if you're thinking about starting your freelance life. And what I mean is not sharing the common understanding of what are the freelancer challenges. Those notions are no-brainer for me, because probably you are working in a team or a company and you know that your team consists of a manager, of recruiter, of like people who help you in the process with the developer and everything. And you probably understand that when you're leaving a team, those roles are on you, right? Like you need to be self-managing, you need to talk to clients, you need to find a developer and things like those. So I believe that you already understand those, and there are much more challenges, trust me, that you need to know about. The first challenge that I'm really struggling with is a lack of a communication with the like-minded people. I'm starting from this point because, as for me, this is the biggest problem. So most of the people who are turning into the freelance life, they're coming from offices, from teams, right? And why this happens? Probably because people are not happy with their role, with the communication in the team, maybe with the task they are taking, and they just don't feel on the right places, right? They want to share their own vision. Probably people are already experienced. They just want to do it their way. They don't want to be dictated or managed. So people are going home to start their freelance works. And the word home is an enemy, as for me. And you usually don't realize this at the beginning, because you think that you will establish everything like you wish and it will be all fine. That's not the case, at least not in my world. The problem is that when you're going home, there's literally no one around you. It's only you and your table, and that's it. And there's no one to talk to at all. Think of it not for the first 3 days, but about a month or 2 or a year. For 24/7, there is no one you can share your projects with. There's no one you can discuss your challenges. There's no one you can talk about the decisions you take. There is no one you can just relieve your thoughts and clear up my mind with. No one who can understand you. No one cares. And yeah, it's a huge responsibility. And you know what? I'm an extrovertive person and I'm taking loneliness pretty seriously. And I know this is stupid to be offended or something, but I do feel myself unneeded or undemanded because there is no one to listen to me, right? And this makes me really vulnerable. And if you're an introverted person, maybe it's a bit better for you. Maybe you don't need to go out and just look for a feedback and talk to people. But being introverted is not something very acceptable for a designer. In other words, how do you get your decisions validated? How do you make sure that your designs are okay, they work? If you talk to a client, you have to know that he is very biased, and the opinion of a client doesn't matter so much as the opinion of a user or other designers who also have some expertise in the niche. So you need to communicate, and that's not the case if you're sitting at home. We are slowly coming to the second problem, and it's actually a lack of a communication with the client. As a freelancer, you are most of the time a contractor. You a person being hired from the outside, and you're not a part of a core team. You don't know the crux of a matter yet. And so probably CEO of some company or startup finds you and asks you to help with the project. One-time project or some project that comes in. And you're discussing together the process, you're finding a common ground, it's all fine. It seems like it's all going to be fine, you're starting to work with each other. The problem is that communication is the key, and the CEO of a project is super busy usually. And sometimes he's also on the other time zone. So the time slot for communication is super small. And you really don't have much chance to talk to the client, to the main decider of the project, and to discuss the process. You're usually being redirected to some team members, and those team members are usually just helping you to answer some questions, but they are not the deciders. So when you finally get the time to talk to a CEO or a client, it's a time when you already have to present something. And you don't have any more time to present the process and ask for a feedback or a support. You only have to present the results. And usually those results are just self-made or self-assumed. This is not a very reliable source. And as you can imagine, really frequently the client might end up being unhappy with the result. You cannot force client to be more accessible to you, even though it's super important. Sometimes the project you've been hired to do is not as important for the CEO, you know. And there is nothing really that you can do about it. You're just a situation hostage. And it sucks. It sucks, in fact. Okay, it's time for the third challenge for me as a freelance designer. And it is short-term motivation. Let's be honest, we are not super excited to get to work every morning. Yes, we all probably have big goals or big motivations, but it doesn't mean that they drive us up every morning out of bed. For this, we all need some kind of incentives, short-term incentive. Some of the people need to feed their families, so they get up because they know they need to bring money. Some of the people need to prove something to someone, so they get up, they get incentivized. And trust me, this is very normal. Only superheroes wake up crazily obsessed with the idea. It's cool, but it's strange. So anyway, I found out that my biggest incentive is deadline. And this usually keeps me running really with high speed. Also, sometimes I'm looking for funny, small incentives. For example, when I moved to Prague in August, I was thinking that now I'm in a center of design community, it'll be all fun, it'll be smooth, I'll meet so many cool people and they will like inspire me to be out and to work. But you know, they just go down. Then I was thinking that coffee is my biggest fuel and it's not too sustainable to buy coffee from coffee shop every day. So I got myself a coffee machine and I was excited for a while, but then it all go down. And then I decided that working from library restricts me time-wise, so I need to work from home and get myself a really nice expandable table. So I get one and it was exciting in the beginning, but then again it just got down. So I feel like I'm constantly in a search for those little incentives, and as soon as I figure them out, it's getting to be too obvious, so I can't cheat myself and I need to look for another one. Yeah, I think it's like a pill that you always need to take to boost yourself. Can you guess why? I personally think that this is because of constant decision-making process or decision-making fatigue. Because me as an entrepreneur, 24/7, I'm making decisions. And sometimes projects are too big and I don't know how to start with them and it's too stressful, I'm scared, to be honest. And I need some dopamine that will boost me to start with some challenging project or task. And this is normal. And by the way, one more little truth. Big goal or big motivation does pump you, but only when you're in a very low stage of your life. When it's normal and natural and it's routine, this just doesn't help at all. Yeah. And the last one, project education flow. So now, as a freelancer, you don't have any team over you, and you don't have a project manager over yourself either. So, with this being said, there is a huge risk of you to be dictated by your client. And let me explain you why. Because you're just a human being, you already have so many tasks to manage. Just think of it. You have to be creative, you have to be productive, you have to manage your time, your documents, your recreation, your budget, and so it go on. And do you think that you always have enough energy to just educate your client about how the project should be running? And do you think that even if you do have enough energy, do you think that the client always is super open-minded and ready to listen to you and your process? I would say that in my experience, it's only like 25% success that we all really agree on something working. And it's for new clients. For old clients that come back to me and ask for another project, that is 75%. And so this gap, 50%, is that difference and that your energy pool that you have to put into educating your client about the best process for the project. Otherwise, if you miss the opportunity and the right time to explain to your client how it's all going to work, what's the process, what's his role, what's your role, then it's just like you're going to be dictated. And this includes the cases when the client asks you to move this button 1 pixel right or left, and it's just so unproductive and so bad for you as a creative person and really bad for users of this application. So just think of it. Does it worth it? Take into consideration that you always have to be super energetic. So any time of the day when you have a conversation with your client, you have enough energy and ability to explain and to prove that this needs to be like this. Otherwise, you know, you just sign in for a horrible experience. That's your choice. Yeah. This was my 4 biggest challenges on the day-to-day routine, and I have to admit that all those 4 challenges makes me really neurotic and makes me experience my own fears face to face every day. Sitting all alone, have no support in the process, in the decision making, always afraid of a feedback of a client or a user, and always being energetic in this mode, not getting impressed, is really challenging, and you have to take this into consideration. You have to be super pooper self-confident person, and maybe if you are, then it's just all probably going to be much easier for you than for me. But I'm just sharing my own experience, and it doesn't mean that everybody would have the same challenges. But to be honest, this is not all so bad. It was just me emotionally talking about my problems. As a matter of fact, freelancer life has so many amazing perks to offer, so many benefits, and sometimes I'm thinking that I would never give this life away. In the next video, I'm going to share with you my biggest benefits of a freelance life and why it's cool and why it's okay to have all those challenges but still keep being a freelancer, because it's still cool, trust me. Thank you very much for listening. Do you have your own challenges as a freelancer? You can leave those down below in the comments. I would really love to know what are other challenges that I don't know or I don't get. Maybe something is very easy for me but is very hard for you and I just forget something. Whatever, it's interesting to understand the whole picture of this question. Okay, thank you guys for listening to me and have fun. Bye bye.